Dithda and welcome from me, Martin Smith, aka Cornish Grandad, to my YouTube channel. I trust you're well and interested in learning my workflow to clean up your tutorial audio. In this tutorial I will show you the workflow I use to clean up tutorial recordings into polished YouTube ready audio files and debunk some of the myths that surround audio editing. I'll say up front, I'm not an audio engineer, not an audio expert. What I will demonstrate is a practical approach to produce high quality dialogue. I'll be using the free open source software from Audacity with its ergonomic interface and great functionality, though my workflow will equally apply to other audio editing software. I will follow my 6-step workflow from the proper use of noise reduction, click removal, essential and manual editing, graphic equalizer, compression, and finally normalization. At the end of the tutorial I will share a tip to speed up the last 3 steps of audio editing. Let us dive straight into the use of this software. So I've loaded up Audacity and this is the interface. I'm now going to just go to File Explorer and drag in a sound file and just drop it in there. And as you can see, you've got a waveform going up and down, reading across. Now if you want to play this, you could use the rewind button and the play button. I tend to just hit this panel here which highlights everything, so that's all can be played. Hit the space bar, that will start playing. Here we have an audio file with a lot of problems to it. Background noise. Stop playing by hitting the space bar again. If you want to just play a section of sound, the easiest way is to click and drag your mouse across a section of sound. Hit the space bar and it'll play just that section. Changing noise levels, clicks, cutoffs. And as you see, it stops when it reaches the end of that. If you want to change the width of this section, if you move your mouse cursor towards the edge, you get this finger pointer, so you could say pull that in, or you could say drag that out or drag that back, whatever, then hit the space bar and play again. So pretty straightforward. If you want to zoom in to this waveform, then you've got some 5 buttons up here which all are magnifying glasses. So you've got the plus, clearly zooms in, the minus clearly zooms out. This button here zooms in just to the selected area, so just for our white selected area. That maximizes that. If I want to go back to the whole view, then that's that button there. And this button I rarely use, but allows you to toggle between zoomed in really far and zoomed in really out. I tend not to use that. You have a host of other buttons up here, most of which I don't use. I never cut audio because audio should be connected with the video, and if I cut it then I'm going to end up with synchronization issues. This one allows you to move stuff. This is a special combination tool. I don't ever use them, I always leave it on here. The only actual button I ever otherwise use is this button here. Notice this white selected area. If I hit that, that would just delete all that out. If I make a mistake and want to undo it, I could obviously hit the undo button or Control Z. So that's the basic interface and how we get things to work. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually duplicate this file so we can see the original version versus the final version. It's not something you need to do, but for the purposes of this demonstration, it's quite useful. So we've now got 2 files here. This one is going to be the uncleaned up one, and this is the one we're going to be listening to. So I've actually turned it so this is muted at the moment, and this is the only one we hear. So good practice when we're creating creating audios is to start off with no sound at the beginning. Don't speak for the first 10 or 15 seconds. And then we can capture that background noise in this dead section at the beginning and use that to remove that background noise. So let's listen to that. Sounds pretty good to me, not a lot going on, but there will be some background noise in there, so we can select that first bit before that click there, you see. Go effects, noise reduction. And noise reduction is a two-step process. So the first bit is you get your noise clip, which we've selected at the beginning. So get noise profile, select the whole clip. And the second step, go back to noise reduction, and then we apply it. Now we could amend these. I find they work very well and I'd never change them. So I would recommend you do the same. So go through and remove any noise. Now let's listen to that from the beginning. Here we have an audio file with a lot of problems to it. Background noise. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a different noise coming in here. So we can reapply our noise reduction from this point onwards. We don't want to reapply it over here because that noise isn't there, and if we're not careful, just degrade the quality of the sound here. So we do the same process: effect, noise reduction, get profile, use our finger pointer, take us to the end, then we can apply it to all of that. Effect, noise reduction, apply. So let's listen from that point. Changing noise levels, clicks, guttles, and all the sounds that we really want to try and get rid of. And we've got lots of volume changes as we talk quietly and loudly. So this needs cleaning up. Now I heard a very slight bit of noise still in this area. I could repeat it. Don't overdo it because you're just going to degrade the other sound quality. Now the temptation is when you're listening through is to go in and fix things as you go along. I would strongly recommend that your first step is to go all the way through and get rid of any background noise. That's long-term noise, not clicks and stuff, just background noise. The next step we're going to do is remove the clicks. And as you can see, we've got some clicks here, here and here. Try and get rid of. We've got everything selected, effect, click removal. I've tried adjusting these to get it more sensitive, and all I end up doing is actually degrading my sound quality. So I always leave those as 220. So I run that, and you see that hasn't changed. That's the same. This click here has been reduced slightly, as this click hasn't been affected either. But it's a very quick and easy process, so I just tend to do it, and that's it, done. Now I've seen many posts where people are saying all you need to do is do noise reduction and then normalize, and hey presto, everything's perfect. I don't think it's as formulaic as that. I think you need to go through and manually get rid of any additional bits of sound we don't need. So we know that the first bit of this clip is dead sound, so we can wipe that out. Okay, and then I didn't point out that you can actually start your playhead from anywhere just by clicking on this timeline at the top, so we don't need to listen to the first bit. Here we have an audio file with a lot of problems to it. Background noise, changing noise levels, clicks. So we have two problem areas here. We have two clicks. Let's zoom into this. Now this first click here is in a dead area. There's no other sound around it, so we can wipe that. Let's carry on. This second one, we could do exactly the same too. It wouldn't be a problem, but I'd like to show you an alternative technique, which is effects, amplify, and I reduce my amplification in steps of -5. So that's the first one. You see it's pulled it down a bit, but it will still have a sound. We can repeat that by doing the amplify, but notice the last command here is up top with Control R. So that's now taking it down to a level which is probably acceptable. Let's carry on from here. Guttles and all the sounds that we really. So we have two bits here. We can zoom in on. First one is when I breathed in, it's an aspirant. So we can apply our Control R to that. That brings it down to quite a nice level. And then we've got this click, which I think will wipe out. Let's start from here. The sounds that we really want to try and get rid of. And we've got lots of volume changes as we talk quietly and loudly. So this needs cleaning up. let's get rid of a bit more of that aspirant there. Let's Control R that. We can wipe out this bit because we know this is the end track. And this bit, very quiet bit, we can do the inverse with. We can go Effects, Amplify, and we'll put just a 5 on that, just to boost that up a bit. The fourth step in our 6-step process is optional, but as it's so quick and easy to do, it's worthwhile doing once it's set up. And that is graphic equalisation, but we're actually going to this option that says here, Filter Curve. Once we've selected something. And we'll just go to the factory presets. Now anything below deeper than 80 Hertz is not in the human vocal range. So as we're not doing a musical, we can get rid of all of those. So we put a point at 100, point at 80, drag the 80 down. So all this is going to get wiped out. This is a very steep curve, so we'll just put a few extra points in there to round it off slightly. Don't have to be super accurate doing this, it's something like this. And anything over 200 Hertz is also outside the human range. So we can drag that down. Likewise, we can put some curves in here just to get rid of some of these, make it a bit less severe. And that's the curve I would use for female voice. So we can save that, manage, save preset, the voice female, call it what you like, doesn't matter. Now for male voice, it sometimes helps just to deepen this end, it gives it a more rounded feel to it. So as we're here, we might as well do the male voice. I've seen people recommending put in 10 decibel increase in here. No more than 3 decibels. It's a subtle effect. Okay, so we can save that one as well. Voicemail. And if we apply that, you probably haven't seen much happen, but it has slightly boosted the male voice. The next effect, this is very quiet. There's nothing anywhere near the peak range. So what we can do now is apply the compressor. What the compressor will do is anything above 12 decibels, it will bring down slightly or cut off, depends how it's set up. And anything above the floor threshold, it will boost up. Anything below, just leave as it is. These other settings I would leave exactly as they are. Now click this, you'll see a big impact. Wow. So it's boosted all the volumes above and within those top and bottom thresholds. I don't know if you can see here, you've got a red line that's clipped. If you can't see it, if you go View, Show Clipping, you should see a line. That means that volume is too loud. It's going to be lost. The next step will get rid of that, and that's normalization. So Effect, Normalize. Now I've seen people saying you should normalize between each step. Rubbish. Do it once, you do it at the end of the process. The point about normalization is if I have more than one track, you don't want one track to be really loud and one track to be really quiet. So normalization makes sure that they're all equal volumes. And that is the end of our process. So let's save this before we do anything else. File, export, export as MP3. Choose where you want to put it. Give it a name, save it. If this meta tag thing is up, you can fill the details in, but as this is only a temporary file, I never bother. Okay, that. So let's listen to our final result. So let's listen to this one from the beginning. Here we have an audio file with a lot of problems to it. Background noise, changing noise levels, clips, cuttles, and all the sounds that we really want to try and get rid of. And we've got lots of volume changes as we talk quietly and loudly. So this needs cleaning up. Now let's listen to the original version just for comparison. Here we have an audio file with a lot of problems to it. Background noise, changing noise levels, clips, cuttles, and all the sounds that we really want to try and get rid of. And we've got lots of volume changes as we talk quietly and loudly. So this needs cleaning up. So I hope you think there's quite a big improvement of that. I promised you a little bonus way of speeding up the process. Now the last 3 steps we did, which was filter curve, compressor and normalize, we just did it apply to the whole thing. We didn't actually change any settings. So we can automate that process. So if we go to Tools, Macro, we can create a new macro, and let's call that, I don't know, tidy up, call it whatever you like. It's created this blank area here, so we can insert our first operation, which in our case was filter curve, which is there. These settings are the ones we last used, so this is the male voice setting we used, so that's fine. We can insert our compressor, and notice these settings here are the default ones, so that's fine. And then we can insert our normalize, which is there, and we can save that, close that down. So we've now saved that, so next time we come in here, those macro settings will be done. Now I'm going to apply it to this clip, but obviously you wouldn't normally reapply, it's just for demonstration purposes. So Tools, Apply Macro, there's our tidy up, and it's done the 3 steps one after the other very quickly. So that's a quick way of speeding up the final 3 steps of our process. I hope that was useful. I hope you have learnt and enjoyed watching this video. And if you have, then please support this channel by clicking like and the subscribe button. Keep in touch, and I hope to see you soon.